guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into today's video. So today we are back with some more winter nails and we are going to be jumping straight into it. As you can see, my nails are already prepped and I'm just going ahead and sizing out all of my nail tips for today. And I am starting out on fully prepped nails because we did do it in last week's video, so I didn't want it to feel too repetitive. But if you do want to see more on that process, you can always check out my last video. I will put it in the cards above. So after sizing out the nails for my 4 healthy nails, I'm going to be actually using a press-on nail tip for my pinky nail, and this one is going to be attached with a sticky tab a little bit later. And for anyone wondering, the reason I do this is because I do have a nail fungus on my pinky nails, so working on top of it would prevent the treatment that I'm using from working properly. So yeah, I know a lot of people thought that maybe I injured it or slammed it in a door. No, it's just nail fungus and it's been short for a very long time. So yeah, hopefully the treatment that I am using works properly and we don't have to deal with this for much longer, but we will see. So now that I have all of my nail tips sized out, I'm going to cure them on using a little bit of base coat. And the reason for that is because I am working on top of a peel off base coat and regular nail glue just does not really stick that well. So base coat is a pretty good substitute for this. And I am using my gooseneck lamp just to cure them down. And afterwards, after the tips are fully placed down, I do like to go into my big lamp for about 30 seconds. Now, before moving on, I'm just going to go over my natural nail with some base coat. And the reason for that is because normally when I am shaping up these nail tips, they can sometimes pop off. So I feel like the base coat kind of helps to provide an extra bit of strength. Now for today, it wasn't super necessary because I didn't even shape these nails. I just jumped straight into application. But if you are going to be using a peel off base coat and you need to shape these nails up, you really want to make sure that they are completely secure or else they will pop off. So now we're onto the application, and for today we're going to be doing a pretty much clear base with some glitters thrown in here and there. And for today I'm going to be using some iridescent snowflakes. I'm also going to be using some white, blue, and silver chunky glitters. And I'm also going to be using these iridescent shards and maybe some iridescent glitters. I don't think that I used them, but I did take them out just in case I wanted to throw them in. So now that we are onto the application, I figured we could chat just a little bit. So if you guys know from my last video, I did mention in the comments that I was probably going to do a little bit of a rant today, just because I'm feeling like it's appropriate. And if you are confused as to why a rant is in order, in my last video, I did mention that I had copyright issues on my video again after having them in my previous video to that one. So it happened in my first Christmas video, which is my latest one, and it also happened in the video prior to that, which was the press-on nail set. And I know what some of you guys are thinking. Okay, you're probably like, hi, well, if you don't have the rights to the song, then obviously they're going to take the revenue, girl. Like, come on. But the thing is, I pay for licensing for every single song that I feature in all of my videos. And for whatever reason, after paying for these licenses and making sure that these licenses are not expired, I still had issues on not only my last 2 videos, but I also had the same thing happen to me on some of my videos from 5 Days of Christmas last year. And that has resulted in most of the audio from those videos being completely muted because I was not about to have Miss YouTube Girly take all of my money, okay? We're not doing that this year. So yeah, I'm kind of just fed up because one of the things that I find very interesting is that it is believed that YouTube's copyright claim system is not even completely accurate. Like, I believe it's AI or something like that. And it's very apparent that it's AI because, first of all, let me tell you the little trick I did on my last video. So while I was scrolling on Reddit, and if you have Reddit or you've been on Reddit, please stay away. It's not the place to be. But anyways, I do go to Reddit sometimes just to get a consensus of what maybe I could do about it. And a lot of people on there who experienced the same thing just said to upload the video under private or unlisted. And then once all of the copyright checks are completed, you can set it to public. And that's exactly what I did. I uploaded 2 versions of my last video, and one of the versions, the first version that I uploaded as scheduled, actually got copyright ID claimed. And then the second one I uploaded had literally no issues at all. It's the same exact video, it has the same music and audio, and there were literally no issues. And this is where the problem lies. There doesn't seem to be any type of consistency that is being used when it comes to copyright ID claims, which is a problem because if it just happens to be randomly triggered, even if it's not necessarily copyright, or even if that person has a right to use that song, it can still land the creator in a lot of trouble, especially if they try disputing that claim, which is something all on its own and can definitely lead to just DMCAs and all the stuff that smaller creators do not want to have to put up with. So yeah, it's just been really annoying, and I don't want to rant about it too much because there's probably a lot of you guys here who don't really care. I know a lot of you guys don't really mind the audio at all. You guys just want to see the video and hear me talk, and for that I really do appreciate you because it's literally just background music and it's not necessary for the enjoyment of the video. But as someone who wants to provide quality content and give you an experience every single time you watch my videos, it can be very disheartening because when you put so much work into something and then it feels like it's kind of being snatched away, it kind of discourages you from trying again. And this time I was not putting up with that, okay? I made it work and my last video is okay. So hopefully with this one, I don't have any issues either, but yeah, that's what's been going on. And yeah, it's honestly just been very stressful. Like I just want to be left alone to make my videos with music that I pay for. Like, please. And a part of me feels lucky that I don't have too many issues with copyright because there's so many communities that can be targeted especially heavily when you look at the gaming communities or even music communities that are doing covers of songs. Those type of creators in those spaces get targeted the most. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I feel like it's absolutely damaging to creatives. And I think on a broader scale, it's really just corporate greed. And honestly, corporations just bullying small creators and abusing their power. And I think that that's the real problem here. And from my own experiences and the experiences of so many other creators who have issues like this, I think that this space lacks a backbone and does everything in favor of big corporations. They don't tend to stand behind the creators and what's best for them. But I don't want to get into that today because that's a whole conversation all on its own. Yeah, that's just my opinion. I get the idea and the reasoning for copyright claims, but I do think that it's a bit invasive. But enough from me, okay? Anywho's, the rant is over. I'm not gonna rant about it for too long because one, I don't think you guys care, and I think I've had enough. So as you can see, I'm pretty much done with the pointer finger, and the thing that I'm doing here is pretty similar to what I'm gonna do on all of the nails. The majority of the nails are gonna be clear and towards the cuticle area and the natural nail. We're gonna do lots of different glitters and snowflakes, and I'm not gonna do them all exactly the same. I'm kind of mixing it up here and there just to give it some interesting details and whatnot. So while I'm doing the application, I do have a question for you guys because this is something I was thinking of while I was doing this nail set. So if you are a nail tech or you just like to do your nails for fun or you're a nail content creator, whatever you call it, what was something or who was someone that really got you into nails? I would say for me, I had a couple of different, inspiring creators that I looked up to, and it definitely came in waves. So what contributed to my interests in actually doing someone's nails in about 2019 and 2020? It included Portia Nailed It, D Nail Slayer, Sydney Alexis. There's so many other people that inspired me, but those were my top 3. Those were my top nail techs that really got me into wanting to create a nail channel. But when I was a kid, I used to go to a nail salon with my mom pretty much every couple of weeks when she needed to get her nails done. And from then I've always had a interest in nails, but I didn't really get a strong interest to learn how to do nails until I was about maybe 11 to 12 years old. And I remember at that age being so inspired by people like Susie from Nail Career Education. I also really loved Christine from Simply Nailogical. My last bit of inspiration came from, you're probably not going to believe this, but Jenna Marbles. I'm not joking. And if you guys remember Jenna Marbles, by the way, I miss her and I hope hope she's doing well. Anyways, I used to watch her videos of her just like doing weird, dumb stuff. And I came across this one video of her doing her acrylic toes, and it was so funny, so entertaining. But at the very root of it, I was like, I want to try and do this myself. Like, I want to do this for a living. Well, I wasn't exactly certain on doing it for a living until I think maybe like my sophomore year of high school, I believe. Can't remember. Anyways, but yeah, when I was like 11 or 12, I remember talking to my mom about trying acrylic, and I remember going to our local health and beauty store, and I would get the little Kiss acrylic kits, and the product smelled horrible, and I did not know what I was doing. Like, they were so thick, but it was so fun to just sit on my room floor and like do my nails and ruin the little acrylic brush and just make everything smell bad. Like, it was so fun though. Like, it was definitely an experience. And then I remember my aunt, she got me like a caviar bead gel polish kit, I believe. And I used to play around with that so much. And honestly, shout out to my mom and my aunt. Like, anything that we were interested in doing, they definitely tapped into that and they supported it. And I honestly can't believe that I have my own channel because I was inspired by Jenna Marbles doing her toes. Like, that's so crazy to me. Anyway, so let me know in the comments who some of your favorite like inspiring creators are. But yeah, it was something I was thinking about earlier, especially because I will be using some like a hollow top coat later, and my mind instantly went to Christine, especially with her having, you know, her own hollow taco line. And I don't know, this nail set kind of gave me a little bit of nostalgia. So yeah, I just thought that that was fun. But anyways, enough of me talking about literally nothing. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this application. We just have the ring finger and the thumbnail to go. And once we're finished, we'll go ahead and shape and file these nails. So once the application's done, we're gonna go ahead and shape and file these nails. And the first thing I like to do is just shape the sidewalls and undersides of my nails using my 80/80 grit nail file. I really like to make sure that these sides are nice and straight and that everything is perfectly square. And I also like to take this time to file over the surface of the nails. And typically I only like to focus towards the length of the nail. As for the cuticle area, I do like to leave that alone for now. And during this process, we're just removing any lumps and bumps and making sure that everything is nice and crispy. And once the shaping is done for the tip of the nail, I'm going to go ahead and correct the free edge. I'm just filing it in a slightly upwards direction just to give it a kind of moon crescent shape, but not too much. And after I do this, that's pretty much all the work I'm going to do using my nail file. So I'm just going to repeat the process on my other 3 nails. So now we're going to work on the apex and the cuticle area, and for that I'm going to be using a carbide bit. Now for this process, you really want to be careful and not cut yourself and dig too much into the cuticle area. And for this step, I'm really just taking this carbide bit to help smooth out the cuticle area and correct my apex. And I'm also just getting rid of any lumps and bumps that there may be. I try and keep my application pretty smooth, but even still there are little imperfections that can be worked on. And afterwards, I'm just going to take that carbide bit to help get rid of some of the scratches on the surface. And for this, I'm just using a carbide bit to kind of graze over the main body of the nail. I don't want to apply too much pressure because I don't want to dig into the nail. I'm just using this bit to help smooth it out a little bit. And then afterwards, I'm going to take that carbide bit and just work underneath it just to give it a crispier effect. So the shaping is all done, and here's what these nails are looking like. I also went ahead and did my pinky nail off camera. And now we are ready to move on to the nail art for today. So this nail set is inspired by one that I found on Pinterest, and I will go ahead and put it up on the screen for you here, but I did not have that much luck with finding the original source because I don't know how to read Chinese. But yes, this is the nail set that I am going to be recreating today. The color palette for this nail set is pretty simple. I'm going to be using a white gel polish and 2 silver glitters. One is just your traditional silver chunky glitter, and the other is a silver holographic glitter. And those are pretty much the 3 colors that we're going to be using for today. Now, before I do anything, I'm going to clean off my nails with a little bit of alcohol to remove any excess dust. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a snowflake on my middle finger. And as you guys know, I usually start with my pointer finger, but there really isn't much quote unquote nail art in this nail set. This nail set is really just nail charms, like honestly. So the only bit of nail art is really on my middle finger, at least for now. So I'm first going to be drawing this snowflake towards the upper left corner of this nail. And I'm just going to divide this into, I believe, 16 parts. So I'm going to do my 4 lines to make 8 pieces. And then I'm going to divide each piece in 2. And once I have those lines in there, I'm going to create little, I guess, triangular segments. Now, just for reference, I did kind of cure this in sections just to make it a little bit easier in case I messed up. But do make sure to take your time when you are doing these sections because they're so intricate and small that it's really difficult to really like see what you're doing. So don't be ashamed to cure it every now and again just to get something set in place. Now, after I have those diagonal sections, I'm just going to create little tails for this snowflake. I'm just pulling out one of those lines and creating 3 little dashes on each side. And of course, I think this goes without saying, but your snowflake doesn't have to look like this. I just wanted to go for that ultra defined snowflake because I've never done one like this before, and it was definitely very interesting to do. After that's done, we're going to go in with some silver glitters, and there's no particular way that I'm putting this on there. I really just wanted there to be dimension between the glitter on top and the glitter at the base of the nail. And I'm just going to be striping this on in a random assortment. And I am using this because I feel like it kind of gives the effect of frozen snow or like ice. So yeah, I'm just randomly getting this on there. And here is where we get into the real quote unquote art in this nail set. So for the most part, we're going to be using some really cute blue gems. And I really wanted to use a collection of larger gems for this nail set because I feel like it definitely gives something extra. And I don't really use gems this large in the specific placement that I use them in. So this was definitely a bit interesting. So as you can see, I'm just pulling out a collection of different charms and rhinestones. So to cure these on, I'm just going to be using some rhinestone glue for the most part. And for my pointer finger, this one's a bit interesting. The gems are kind of being placed in a French tip manner, I guess, but the cuticle area also has some gems as well. So I'm just going to be randomly placing them down and seeing which assortment I like them in. Now, the really difficult thing about doing videos like this is that it's kind of difficult to explain what I'm doing because when it comes to gem placement, it's definitely up to your own interpretation and your own tastes and style. So this may seem kind of counterproductive, but honestly, the only thing that I can really tell you to do is to follow what feels best, play around with the different gem placements and see what you can come up with. This is really one of the reasons why I wanted to do this nail set because I feel like I definitely needed some practice with gem placement. I'm not the best at it and sometimes I feel like my gem placement can be kind of weird. So I felt like this was a good practice session to just play around with different placements and see what I can come up with. Now, as you can see, I am placing some of the larger gems first, and then I am going around those with some smaller gems. I'm also mixing in a couple of pearls, and I did also use some metal beads. Now, it may not seem necessary in the moment to add all of these smaller details, but it definitely makes it come together. I remember when I first started playing around with gem placement, like back when I first started doing nails with, gems and like rhinestones and stuff, I didn't really put too much effort in adding smaller details in between the bigger details. And it just felt empty and a little bit lackluster. But once I started incorporating super small beads and rhinestones and pearls, I definitely noticed a difference in how detailed and well thought out it looked. So yeah, if you aren't using beads and pearls and just smaller decorations here and there, I definitely recommend it. It makes such a huge difference. So now I'm on to my ring finger, and this one's going to be a little bit different because in this nail set, the ring finger on the top row has some of the largest nail gems in this entire nail set. And I just felt like it was appropriate to do that because I felt like it would help stand out. And for whatever reason, I do like my ring finger to kind of stand out for the most part. Sometimes I'll switch it up, but anyway, I did want this nail to be my accent nail. So I wanted to do some super huge gems on this nail. So instead of using regular rhinestone glue, I'm actually going to be using some solid nail glue gel. This is really good for just getting those gems on and, you know, not having to worry about them sliding around or falling off because they're so big. So yeah, that is what I'm using. And as you can see, I'm using this huge flower charm. And I'll be honest, you guys, most of these gems that I'm using in this video, I bought maybe a year and a half ago, and I literally am just now using them for the first time now. And I just think it's so weird that I had all these nail gems for this nail set and I never used them prior to this. Let me know if you guys are the same way, because sometimes I'll just go on nail gem or nail charm sprees and I'll just buy a whole bunch of stuff in hopes that maybe one day I'll use it. And sometimes I never do. Like, I have 5 or 6 containers similar to the one you saw in the beginning. I have maybe 5 or 6 of those and I don't really use them as often as I thought I would. So I'm really hoping that I didn't waste, you know, a whole bunch of money on stuff that I'm not going to use. So I haven't thrown them out. I'm probably going to try and use them at least one day. We'll see. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. And I really think that this flower charm worked. And similarly to what I did on my ring finger, I'm going to do to my thumbnail as well. This one's going to have super large gems and charms towards the cuticle area of this nail. And again, I am using some solid nail glue gel to help hold those pieces down. And I'm also going to be adding a couple of gems towards the tip of this nail as well. So at this point, we are ready to kind of finish off the rest of this quote unquote nail art. Now, as you can see, I am going in with some white gel polish to create a snowy effect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to line the outer edge of this pointer finger with some white gel polish. And I'm also going to add a little bit of white gel polish onto the gems toward the French tip line, if that makes any sense. And I am purposely kind of going over some of those gems for a little bit of thickness. Now, one thing I didn't notice is that I probably should have done top coat first. So yeah, don't do what I did here. I actually needed to go in with some top coat first. So yeah, I did end up pausing on that, and I did end up going in with top coat on all of the 4 nails. Now, I had to make sure to be super careful about this top coat because I wanted to go over the pearls as well as the metal beads, but I wanted to make sure to avoid the rhinestones and the larger charms. So I would recommend using a line art brush to get into the nooks and crannies without messing up and getting, a whole bunch of top coat onto the parts you want to maintain their shine, because once it's on there, it kind of dulls out and doesn't really look as good. And after I have that on, I'm going to cure for a full 60 seconds. And as you can see, I also went ahead and top coated the bottom just for a little bit of extra shine. And now we're gonna go back to the snow. So again, I'm taking a line art brush and I'm gonna be outlining the one side of my pointer finger with some white gel polish. Now, because I already have one layer down, I'm just gonna be focusing on giving it some dimension. So I'm gonna be building up some areas and leaving some areas nice and flat. Now, when you are using the acrylic to make it nice and matte, you want to make sure to keep pouring the acrylic powder on top until it is completely matte. If it's not completely matte when you go ahead and cure, it can kind of look a little bit gummy and not as snow-like, if you know what I'm saying. So just keep pouring until you really get that nice and matte snowy look. And yeah, I'm just going ahead and doing that in multiple layers and curing in between each one. And here I did my pinky nail off camera. And here is what all of the nails are looking like all together. This nail set is honestly just so extra and in your face and fancy, and I love it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this off with a little bit of cuticle oil. And that completes today's set. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this one. This nail set was not as difficult as I thought it would be. I remember looking at this photo and thinking, that's a challenge I want to try. And then I sat down and did it and I was like, oh, it's not that bad. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think of this one in the comments. I will say that this nail set is probably going to be one of the most extra I do this year. And now that I think about it, I probably should have waited until 5 days of Christmas to do this one. But this one's just too pretty to wait on. Like, I had to do it right now. I would say that my favorite nails are honestly my pointer finger and my pinky nail. And speaking of, I don't really mention my pinky nail being my favorite, but honestly, she kind of ate with that one. Like, she honestly looks so good. Like, I really put in a lot of effort into my nail on my pinky for the first time in a while. So yeah, let me know which one you guys like the best. If I were to put this nail set on a scale of 1 to 10, I would definitely give this nail set a good 10 out of 10. I really can't think of anything that I don't like about this nail set. It's just so pretty and shiny, and it definitely gives winter with the blue and just how sparkly and kind of icy these gems look. I really feel like it comes together so nicely. So yeah, I really did enjoy this nail set, and I can't wait to come back with some more Christmas nails very soon. But as always, I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I will see you guys in the next one.